What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel, and we are here with the next fights to make following UFC Mexico, Royval versus Moreno 2. It was a solid card and we've got a bunch of fighters that need next matchups to make, so I'm going to be doing that in today's video, starting with the main event, going all the way down to the earlier fighters on the card. We've got 11 fighters here to matchmake for, so let's get started with the main event winner. Brandon Royval won by split decision in the main event, and I think he should fight Manel Kape next. Manel Kape was going to fight Matheus Nicolau. He was going to have an opportunity to, if he'd won that, probably be next for the title shot, but he missed weight. And I'm hearing apparently they might be rebooking that fight, but I don't really care to see it. That's a rematch. We don't really need to see that fight. But Kape versus Royval would not be a rematch. That would be a new, fresh fight. And also, that would be a pretty definitive number one contender fight. Because even though Royval's already fought Pantoja, if he beats Kape, you can probably justify with wins over Moreno and Kape. That's actually two solid wins. So you could justify another title shot. And for Manel Kape, that's because Royval's now going to be ranked number one in the division, which is crazy. So if Kape beats Royval, he'll be ranked number one. He can easily get a title shot. This will be a sick fight. Pretty much pure striking, I reckon. I don't think there would be any grappling here. These two would just stand and bang. And I would probably favour Manel Kape with the power advantage because he is a bit better in the pocket, I think. But still, this would be a sick fight, and I'd like to see it. Fight night main event, or just a fight on a pay-per-view, like prelims, or even pay-per-view main card. This would be a sick fight, so make it happen. We move, though, to the loser of the main event. Brandon Moreno lost, and I think he should fight Muhammad Mokaev next. And a lot of you might be confused by that, but Mokaev, he's fighting this weekend against Alex Perez, and I think he's going to win. If he doesn't, then I take that back. Obviously, then you can probably do Moreno versus a Kaikar. No, you can't really do that. That's dead. Maybe just rebook the Alvarez fight or do Nicolau or something like that. But if Mokaev wins, and they don't give Mokaev a random title shot because they're looking for someone to give to Pantoja, if they do want to give him one more fight, Moreno has now fought his last 8 fights in the top 5 of the flyweight division. He's now coming off back-to-back losses to Pantoja and now to Royval. He'll go down the rankings probably to number 2 or 3. And I don't think you just keep giving this guy infinite fucking title elimination number one contender fights. So I think he has to fight down. Mokaev versus Perez is number 6 versus 7 or 7 versus 8. I forget, but it's one of those two. I think it's 7 versus 8. So if Mokaev wins, he'll go to number 7. Or number 6, whatever, and I think you can justify number 6 versus number 3 or 2 in the rankings pretty easily, depending on where Moreno ends up. But this would be a big test for Mokaev. So if he lost this, I wouldn't shame him at all. It wouldn't be you got fraud checked. Moreno, former champion, former title challenger, bunch of top-level experience, but he didn't look that good in this fight, and it does kind of beg the question whether all those 5-round wars, whether all those title fights are catching up to him. And I think a good way to test it would be give yourself a new young guy in the division that is in it, not super experienced. He's beat Tim Elliott. He's looking to beat Alex Perez. And this would be a big jump up for him, but it would be, I reckon, reasonable. And you could do this in Saudi Arabia. This would be because if you're not going to be able to justify Mokaev in a big position on that card. But if you do him versus Moreno, in a top 5 matchup, then you can justify him being even a co-main event or a feature fight on a pay-per-view even, or on a fight night, whatever. But this will be a sick fight, so I think you make it happen. And yeah, well, I'll get back to it next week if Mokaev wins. Then we'll be able to reassess, because if he looks shit and scrapes out a win, then obviously I'll take this back and I'll make him fight someone else. But if he runs through Alex Perez, I think this would be a pretty reasonable fight to make. Let's move on, though, to the winner of the co-main event. Brian Ortega, the Eagle, bashed his talons into a rock and reinvented himself, and he got the win over Yair Rodriguez, and I think he should fight Movsar Evloev next. This is a fight that I think should be made, because to be honest, he does not deserve a title shot. He's coming off 2 losses before this. One of them, he's won one against Yair. I know the first fight was an injury, but he still got beaten up in this fight, so it's not like he ran through Yair. Also, Volk deserves it more than Ortega. Even Evloev deserves it more than Ortega. Holloway coming back down deserves it more than Ortega. So he does not deserve a title shot. But I do respect that he is probably 1 or 2 wins away. And I think if he fought Evloev in a number one, if you just do Volk versus Taporia in like August, and then do this fight, maybe even on the same card, because if you do it in Spain, you can justify Ortega on there, and then you could do the winner versus the winner. That would be an easy fight to make. But Evloev versus Ortega would be a sick grappling fight. It would be a good way to test Evloev's grappling against a jiu-jitsu guy. It would also be a good way to test Ortega and see how he goes against someone who's probably going to wrestle against him, because not many guys wrestle against Ortega. And on the striking wise, I think Evloev because Evloev looked pretty solid against Allen, man, let's be honest. So on the striking wise, this would actually be a pretty intriguing fight. So make this fight happen. Do Volk versus Yair sometime, or do Yair versus Holloway or something like that, whatever. But do this on the same card as Yair's title fight in Spain, and then you can do the winner versus the winner, and I think that would be good. But we move on to the loser of the co-main event. Yair Rodriguez had a disappointing performance. I think Giga Chikadze is the next guy, to be honest. Giga is coming off a win. He called Yair out, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, he was booked against Josh Emmett and pulled out. So, obviously, I'm not a big fan of giving guys jumps up, but I think Yair should move down at least a couple spots here, because he was number 3. He's going to at least go down to number 4. I think he should go down to number 5 below Evloev. And then he'll be 5 below Allen. And then Giga's ranked number 9, so number 5 versus 9, not a crazy jump up in competition. Just the kickboxing, this would be sick. Neither guy's going to grapple, so I think with Yair, you kind of ruin him by giving him grapplers. Like, if you want to fucking give this guy Aljamain Sterling after if he beats Cohen Cater, like, by all means, but I think you just don't give this guy wrestlers, just give him fun fights. I was considering doing Barboza, or maybe Arnold Allen, or even not Josh Emmett, but like Allen or Barboza, but I ultimately landed on Giga just because Giga's coming off a win, Allen's coming off a loss, and I don't think Barboza deserves that big of a jump up. I think Barboza versus Josh Emmett is what you should do next. But regardless, back onto this one. This will be a sick fight, kickboxing-wise. I think I would still favour Yair, just because I do think he is a bit cleaner and a bit more fluid with his striking, and Giga also didn't look like super good in his last time out, so I'd favour Yair to win, but this would still be a sick fight. Can definitely be a fight night main event. If you for some reason went to Georgia, you could do it there, or just do it in America, fight night co-main, pay-per-view main card, pay-per-view prelims, really anywhere you can chuck this fight would be sick to watch. But let's move on down the card. Daniel Zellhuber won, and he made MMA Guru very upset because he was naturally born with long arms, so that's unfortunate for him. I guess you're not allowed to have genetics that are useful for fighting. But regardless, he got the win, looked very impressive against Prado, and I think a jump up in competition is required. Definitely not a massive jump up, not like a top 15 guy, but maybe I'm going a bit too high with this. Maybe you need to give him one more step, but there's this man, another also very tall, rangy guy that is gifted with attributes that make him good for fighting, so maybe the MMA Guru doesn't like him either. But he's got a fight booked against a man who's going to be at an 11-inch reach disadvantage. I'm talking about Joel Alvarez, who's booked to fight Mateusz Rebecki. I think he's going to lose that fight despite literally having a full ruler's worth of reach advantage. Like, he has a fucking classroom ruler worth of reach added to his fucking arm as an advantage, but I think he's still going to end up losing that fight to Rebecki, and after that, I think Alvarez versus Zellhuber is the fight to make. This will be sick. These are two really long, really lanky guys, but yeah, both guys would have I think both have a 77-inch reach. Would be crazy to see, just like very long rangey kickboxing, and I think it would be a banger. And this would be Spain versus Mexico. Again, do this in Spain. You can afford to give Zellhuber some time off. Like, he's a young guy, you don't need to rush him. Maybe if you give him some can in the meantime on an Apex card, just get him another win, but do this fight in Spain, Alvarez versus Zellhuber. I think I've come up with the best option in terms of a fight to go to Spain with. You can put this on the main card of a pay-per-view there, because both guys are actually got a bit of, I wouldn't say Alvarez is a star, but in Spain he would be well received, and then Zellhuber is definitely getting the push from the UFC, but this would be a banger, make it happen. We move on down the card. Manuel Torres got a big win in the first round, and I think he should fight Ludovic Klein next. Just again, this guy's got definite promotability behind him, he's definitely got potential to be a big guy for the Mexican market. And so yeah, Klein, Not a crazy talented guy. I think he's coming off a win if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he's not a top level guy. He's not a super dangerous guy. Doesn't really knock people out. Doesn't like have anything super dangerous to present to Torres. So this will be another good fight to just get him some confidence, put it on a like fight night main card in like the Apex or in an arena fight night prelims. Pay-per-view prelims. This would be a good fight just to give him another step up, and then you can go and put him back at the Sphere when they do 3. So give him one more fight in the meantime, and then do him in like September when they go to the Sphere for that card. Get guys like him, Huba, Rosas, Yair, Moreno, Grasso. You can do an absolute banger card in Mexico, which closer to the date, I'll definitely do a card builder for. But we move on down the card. Yasmin Haragi, give her Luma look boom. This will be a good fight. Both of them are pretty solid strikers in terms of women's MMA, so yeah, make it happen. But all these people I'm hearing that are like glazing Haragi beyond belief and saying, she's the best prospect we've ever seen. Look at that. Look at those range striking. Look at that distance management. Like, calm down. She didn't do anything crazy. Loma Lookboom's another one that is kind of glazed by a lot of people that say, like, damn, that Muay Thai is serious. Like, all right, let's settle down, mate. She throws a few body kicks and hasn't finished a fight since fucking 2022. Like, let's just settle down. Let's move on, though, to the next fight. Ioni Barcelos versus Damon Blackish is, I think, the fight to make next. Barcelos got a nice win over Christian Quinones. Struggled a bit, ended up getting the submission. Blackish hasn't fought in a while. His last fight was to Mario Batista, who's now ranked, and I think he won that. So he's a guy that you can definitely justify a top, or not a top fight, but a fight just outside the rankings. I don't mind this one. I've seen it thrown around by a couple other people, so I didn't really have to think long and hard. I kind of just took this idea from someone else, but yeah, make it happen. I'd favour Blackish, but do it sometime soon. Let's move on to the next fighter. Edgar Chairez got a win, and he got it done for his cartel in the rematch against Lacerda. I think you give him Jimmy Flick. Obviously, Jimmy Flick, the man that said, if Khabib and Damian Maia had a baby, it would be me. I'm like, when I heard him say that, I was like, bro, I don't think you realize that when people use that, like, saying, when they say, like, when this and this person had a baby, it would be this person, it usually means they have the best of both worlds. It means they've got, like, the attributes from both sides. If Khabib and Maia had a baby and it was you would be the fucking Down syndrome baby that they considered aborting. So, Jimmy Flick, don't know why he said that, but do him versus Chairez. Both guys seem to have pretty solid grappling. And yeah, I don't know, just make it happen. Chairez hasn't beat anyone good, and neither's Jimmy Flick, so make it happen. We move on to the next fighter. Luis Rodriguez got a win. I think you do him versus another Mexican on the card, Victor Altamirano. Victor's lost his last couple fights. I do think he kind of got robbed against Felipe, so it would be rough if they did cut him, so I don't think they should. But yeah, do this fight against two Mexicans. I know a lot of people say, like, don't put Mexicans against each other, but, like, that happens all the time. It's called cartel wars. So yeah, make this fight happen, and then, yeah, the winner can become like an actual promoted Mexican flyweight, and the loser can fuck off back to the regional scene. Let's move on down the card. Muhammad Naimov got a win on the prelims, kind of fluky. I think you do him versus Jonathan Pierce, who apparently might be fighting Kushain Ashkabov, but Kushain Ashkabov is literally got arrested for terrorism like months ago. Him and his brother tortured someone, so I don't know if he's actually going to be sanctioned to fight in America, so that could be a bit iffy. But if that fight's taken place, then sure, do that fight in the meantime. But I think Naimov, he's won his last fights. He's beat Jamie Malaki, he beat Nathaniel Wood, and now he's beat this dude. I think did he win one more before that? I don't know, but regardless, he's actually looking alright. I mean, he's kind of fluking it. Like, Nathaniel Wood, he cheated a bunch. Malaki, he was losing, and then he kind of chinned him, and then this one was just a fluke. But yeah, Jonathan Pierce, solid-ish fighter. If he wins against Jonathan Pierce, you could probably justify him versus like a Dan Ige, but right now he needs to get a few like actual legitimate wins without cheating and without fluking it, and then you can then you can justify the jump up. But that is everything, guys. I think those are all the fights to make. If you guys have anyone that you think I missed or that I should have given credit to, I just did the notable fighters from the main card and then the guys on the prelims that got finishes, to be honest. So yeah, I just showed up. I don't even know the guy, to be honest with you. But yeah, predigo que ganara Brian Ortega porque Yair Rodriguez grappling es terrible. That's my updated prediction. I actually picked Brian Ortega because Yair Rodriguez grappling is terrible. That's my Spanish for you. If you watched the prediction videos, you know. But yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.